Welcome to the Lit Boil, where we break down and explore the greatest works of literature. So grab your lance, a helmet fashioned from a barber's basin, and join me as we journey into the world of Don Quixote. What if one day you woke up, lost touch with reality, and decided to become a knight in a world that no longer believed in chivalry? Welcome to the wild, hilarious, and heartbreaking world of Don Quixote, a story that redefined literature forever. Written by Miguel de Cervantes in the early 1600s, Don Quixote is considered one of the first modern novels and remains a masterpiece of Western literature. The book was published in two parts, Part 1 in 1605 and Part 2 in 1615. Cervantes satirized the romantic tales of knights and honor that were popular at the time, creating a character who is as tragic as he is comical. Let's start with Part 1. We meet Alonso Quijano, a middle-aged gentleman from La Mancha, Spain. Alonso is a dreamer, spending his days lost in books of chivalry, tales of valor and adventure that once might have inspired him to become a knight-errant himself. But alas, time has passed, and now he's just a bookish man in a too-tight doublet. But Alonso has a secret. Well, maybe not so secret. He's completely lost his mind, or has he? One day, Alonso decides he's had enough of this ridiculous world and its ridiculous rules. He throws off his comfy clothes, puts on some old, ill-fitting armor, and grabs a lance. With a helmet fashioned from a barber's basin, Alonso sets out from his house, renaming himself Don Quixote de la Mancha. And he's not alone. He recruits a simple, illiterate farmer, Sancho Panza, as his loyal squire, promising him the governorship of an island if they succeed in their quest. Thus begins the silliest adventure in literary history. Throughout their journey, Don Quixote mistakes windmills for giants, flocks of sheep for fearsome monsters, and prisoners for valiant heroes in distress. He fights battles that aren't really there, rescuing maidens who never needed rescuing. At every turn, he sees himself as the star of a romance novel, even though he looks more like the punchline of a joke. But amidst the laughter, there's a hint of sadness. For Don Quixote, reality is as malleable as clay. He sees what he wants to see, and that makes him both pitiable and admirable. His delusions may be absurd, but his spirit is indomitable. Now let's talk about Part 2. By the start of Part 2, Don Quixote and Sancho Panza are local celebrities. The publication of Part 1 of Don Quixote has made their exploits famous throughout the land. This time around, people have heard their tale and want to either trick them or test their mettle. In Part 2, Cervantes cleverly plays with fiction, reality, and self-awareness. Characters from the story are aware that they're in a story. They talk about their fame and the rumors that surround them. It's as if the novel itself is having a conversation with its readers. As the story progresses, Don Quixote begins to question his own madness. He knows he's being mocked, but he can't bring himself to stop. His ideals are too important to abandon, even if the world insists on seeing them as ridiculous. Eventually, Don Quixote tires of the endless mockery and returns home. He's beaten, not just by the world, but by himself. On his deathbed, Alonso Quijano renounces his chivalric fantasies and reclaims his true identity. And then, well, he dies. Don Quixote is more than a funny story about a guy who mistakes sheep for soldiers. It's a profound reflection on human nature, our tendency to dream, to imagine a better world, and to fight for it, even when the odds are stacked against us. We laugh at his madness, but we also admire his courage. His quest is doomed from the start, yet it's noble nonetheless. In the end, Don Quixote reminds us that sometimes the greatest battles are fought, not with swords and shields, but with our own perceptions of reality. So if you ever feel like you're tilting at windmills, just remember, you might just be one step away from becoming a legend. Cervantes said, "Too much sanity may be madness, and maddest of all, to see life as it is, and not as it should be." And that pretty much sums up Don Quixote. If you liked this video, please subscribe and check out our other videos on classic literature. Thank you for watching.